Oh, no.
So go on and get in the car?
Yeah. Or just right before we're going to transport.
What facility are we going to?
Orange County Jail. It's not too far. It's right down John Young.
Is that 33rd?
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. Justin, you want to open?
All right. What's up? All right. Call it out.
Yeah. It's out of county 1027. White male.
County 3303. One white male secure. I was gonna.
You said the wrong call sign and then you didn't even.
Oh, well, two. My
Just
bad.
wait.
All right, she got that.
So county 3302. Wait. White male 1015 for out of county 1027.
County 3302. One white male, 1051 to PRC, with an out-of-county warrant.
White male 1015. On board. It's okay. Be alive. So.
They got me. They know what I mean. So starting is 17.5.73. All right, 51 to.
Yeah, let's wait. Dude, stop. Do everything first, and then we'll start driving.
What time is it?
About 9:30.
9:38.
I just got new body cam video footage from Orange County, but it was not the body cam video footage that we are all waiting for. I was hoping and praying it would be that missing body cam video footage from the officer number 2, as I call the officer who was in that room, in that insurance company the night of Monday, February 26th, when Madeline Soto was reported missing. There's an officer whose footage we still don't have, and I guess maybe we won't get it, according to Orange County, who spoke with Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto. So this they sent me was actually from the night, Wednesday, February 28th, around 9:30 p.m. You'll hear one of the officers somewhere in there say 9:38 p.m. They're transporting Stephan Sterns to Orange County Jail. So you can hear him at first. They redacted the visuals, but you can hear Stephan Sterns just asking, "So go on out and get in the car?" And the officers just say, "Yeah." They explain they were waiting for a transport officer. Sterns asked, "What facility are we going to?" And they tell him Orange County Jail. It's not far. It's right down on John Young, that roadway or road drive, whatever the heck it is. And Sterns is asking, "Is that 33rd?" And they say, "Yeah, yes, here we go." And you can hear them open the door.
Oh, no.
So go on and get in the car?
Yeah. Or just right before we're going to transport.
What facility are we going to?
Orange County Jail. It's not too far. It's right down John Young.
Is that 33rd?
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. Justin, you want to open?
All right. What's up? All right.
Now this is that point where we can see a couple of videographers. There's a woman standing kind of far back, but there's a guy right there. He has that great little, kind of like a gimbal or where you can hold your phone in or whatever, a nice little light. and he's following Sterns right up on that perp walk. And if you remember his video footage, whoever this guy is, he got great footage. I realize now that the Orange County Sheriff's Office was the one who put this video out, so perhaps it was one of their own that took this marvelous video. But how ironic that Stephan Sterns keeps turning his head away and the videographer keeps trying to get his face on camera. How ironic of the man who had 1,700 heinous images and videos of Maddie.
Well, the detectives made fun of you, so you walked too fast.
It did.
It's okay though.
I'm going to talk over most of their transport footage because they're playing music.
Was that supposed to do like a slow walk?
I don't want YouTube to just copyright claim or strike or anything. Sterns doesn't talk much. Before that door is opened, you hear him asking questions. After that door is opened, you can almost see his surprise. He turns his face. He doesn't expect anyone to be out there videotaping him. So yeah, the cops, they're great. They will tip off reporters. They can get those perp walk videos. It was late. It was 9:30, but they probably already knew, oh yeah, this is going to be a huge case. We've got something going on here. You guys might want to get here and start filming. So once they get Sterns in that car, he's wearing the white, I guess it's almost like a white turtle suit, if they even make him in white. It's just that white thing. He gets in the back seat and he kind of grunts and groans, and that's it. He's pretty silent. The cops are joking with each other. So we've got two videos, and basically it's the same footage, except the one officer's video you can hear Sterns speaking in the beginning. The rest of it, they're pretty quiet. One officer jokes with the other, saying, oh, you know, the detective was making fun of you for walking so fast. So it's almost like one of the officers is a newbie. And, you know, when they do that perp walk, they want to give the videographers plenty of time to get their footage. So usually they walk the perp. Let's walk them slow as possible. Let's keep that back door open, get all kinds of, you know, viewpoints, and then close it. But I guess he walked them pretty fast. And they're just doing their, you know, household due diligence duties, announcing stuff.
Go to teletype. Don't say anything. I'll keep this on sector 3. Don't like say we're 96. And then I'll type in his deal for you in a second. So we can get that ball rolling. You want to try to read it while we're driving? It's this one. Teletype 3302 copy of 29P. Well, actually, it might not be in the system yet. Just wait. I'm gonna try.
Honestly, it reminded me again of Christopher Watts. Chris Watts, when he was transported to Weld County Jail that night. So I guess he was at the Frederick Police Department getting interviewed August 15, 2018, finally made a confession, and then he was transported over to Weld County Jail. And I still remember it was a pretty quiet ride. You could hear the officers' music, maybe some country music was playing. I like listening to the music they listen to here, but of course I'm like, oh no, YouTube won't like this.
Just sound teletype.
When they pulled up with Chris Watts, they said, one cooperative male. I remember that. But this time, they just said something about a white male. And Sterns, you don't hear a peep out of him. He must have known, whoa, you know, I'm being videotaped. I better be silent on the rest of this ride. Now, unfortunately, regarding that missing body cam video from officer number 2, who I went over in detail how I determined we were missing body cam videos from that night from the missing case, which is allowed to be released. I mean, that's why they're releasing this arrest video now from Wednesday, and they released, according to them, everything they have from the missing case, which I know is not true, but they told me today. Regarding that missing body cam, authorities told me today, the Orange County Sheriff's Office has reviewed its files and has determined there are no responsive records to your request.
We'll just call it when we get there.
About the primary?
I'm gonna text the magistrate.
What time is it?
About 9:30.
9:38.
This request's status will now be changed to closed. That's it, June 10th, 2024, 12:18 p.m. by staff. So, that's it, so they say. But we know from looking at the evidence they've given us, You know, we're smart people, we could be jurors, and this is what really gets me. I mean, I'm grateful that this is a death penalty case now. The docket let me know there's a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. So that just got posted today on the Osceola County website. The state of Florida hereby notices the defendant and the court.
Alright, she said it should be in the system, so we'll just do it on radio when we get there.
Got it.
You can go back to 3 for now, until we get there.
That based upon the info available at this time as to the facts of this offense and Sterns' prior record, sufficient aggravating circumstances do exist to justify the imposition of the death penalty as to this defendant in this case. Therefore, the state will be requesting the imposition of the death penalty should the defendant be convicted in this case. And the state of Florida intends to prove and has reason to believe it can prove beyond a reasonable doubt the following aggravating circumstances. The defendant was previously convicted of another capital felony or a felony involving the use of threat or violence to the person. So, you know, we have the heinous CSAM charges, you know, those huge 60 list of charges, and we have the murder case for Sterns. So combined, I mean, it's all heinous. The capital felony was committed while the defendant was engaged in the commission of or attempt to commit aggravated child abuse. The capital felony was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. The victim of the capital felony was particularly vulnerable due to an advanced age or disability, or because the defendant stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over the victim, indeed. And so I was even looking up his lawyer's public defender's designation of capital case, and they have Elizabeth Burden and Alicia Smith. Can you imagine being appointed as counsel, an attorney to defend Stephan Sterns? Oh, I don't know how some of these criminal defense attorneys do it. Whew. But the point is, I'm such a stickler for missing evidence because I'm old enough to have watched the O.J. Simpson trial. I'm old enough to have watched him walk free on this earth, at least. We know he's seen the judgment seat of Christ by now, and he's been judged by God by now, but I'm old enough to have watched him, what I feel like, slaughter 2 innocent people. I mean, not to get too graphic here, I have not seen the crime scene photos, but they say Nicole Brown Simpson was nearly decapitated. I mean, if you watch the recent Nicole Brown Simpson Lifetime docuseries, it was like 4 episodes, excellent. Talked to all of her sisters, different people. She was cut all the way back almost to her vertebrae. I mean, I've had friends tell me that I believe she was wearing a necklace and it was nearly embedded in her. You know, that's a crime of passion. That shows anger. And my point is that jury, not only did they get confused because of all the racial issues, they also got confused because of DNA evidence. Now, with Stephan Sterns, with this case, I don't want any room for confusion. I don't want any lack of faith in law enforcement doing their job. I mean, that was a big thing in the OJ case. You know, they came up with these wacky, crazy theories like, oh yeah, OJ didn't do it. The cops planted all this evidence on him. And, you know, people just started believing things beyond rationality.
Pull it behind him and we can go off. And I'll never follow anybody in, so...
Don't. Got it.
Because they'll smash your car.
So now the standard is the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Stephan Sterns did these things. I hope and pray, I think they have more than enough evidence. I believe any reasonable jury will convict him. We haven't even seen all the evidence. Just from what we know now, I think he could be convicted. But I start to worry when evidence I believe is missing. I mean, any jury member might be able to figure out like what I did and what you guys did, viewers did, just by watching what's presented. If Orange County presents that insurance video, there's one cop that's talking with Jennifer and Stephan. There's the other cop who's in the room sometimes when he's not there. Any normal, rational jury member will say, oh, I wonder what else Jen and Sterns told that cop while the other cop walked out. And they can ask, they can request, let's see that evidence. And what if the cops are like, nope, that's all we have? I mean, maybe it won't impact the case, but maybe it could. And that's what worries me. which I shouldn't, but what if during that time of the missing body cam video that we do not see, who knows what happened to it, and it's fine if the cop just forgot to maybe activate his body cam, and I don't want to put that on him. Maybe he activated it, maybe they just can't find the video. That's one thing. I wish they could get more detailed beyond there's no responsive records. They try and make you feel like an idiot, and that's what I don't like. You know, for the longest time, that Nicole Kessinger video.
And no time, he never gave you any indication that
None.
that he was having issues. So during your guys' dating time, did you guys spend most of the time at your place?
Always.
Okay, always at your place.
I told, or we'd go out, but I told Mark yesterday, he asked me if I went over there, and I told him about one time that I went over to that house. I've been to that house twice, but it was very, very brief, and it was not like an extended stay. I did not feel comfortable there, or like, I just didn't want to be there. It's not my life. Like, that is somebody else's life and somebody else's existence, and I respect that. That's their space. And so I used to tell him, well, come to my house because this is our space. This is my space. And so for me, out of respect just for, like, whatever situation he had going on and the fact that it's not my home, I felt that it was better to be in my place. And I live alone. I don't have any roommates or anything, so it's pretty easy to do that.
So during June and July, were you aware that his family was not did you meet his children?
Nope.
During
I didn't want
June
to.
and July?
And he didn't ask me to.
Okay.
I mean, not that I didn't want to ever. It was just not now. It's like you're not finalized with your separation, and not only that, we've barely been dating. Like, you can't introduce kids to somebody new in a situation like that. That's something that takes time. I mean, would I have liked to have met them? Of course. That would have been a great honor for me to have somebody introduce their children into my life, but not then. It was something that it was like, okay, well, let's see where we're at in 6 months. Let's see where we're at in a year. And if we're still doing this and you and me are still, happy with where we're at, and you think that this is something that is going to be long-term and is worth bringing your children into the picture, then yes, I would love to meet them. But it's like, not right now. You are still in this situation where you're not even completely out of it, and I'm getting in it, and that's not fair for them. And that was kind of the policy that I had with him, it was just like, yes, but not yet.
So did he ask to introduce you to his children?
Not at that time. I think both him and I were on the same page of eventually, if things went as they should in a
I understand you
relationship.
guys' relationship is very new and young.
Yeah.
So, although it was short, just laying everything out helps us understand what actually was going on with him. And
Yep.
I might ask you a question and you're going, why the heck would he ask me that? Probably because I have information that I'm not willing to share with you, and I'll tell you that right now. I'm not going to tell you. Some questions I'm going to ask you, and you go, what the heck? I want to share some information with you. Just, it protects you, and it protects our investigation. So if it seems weird, there's a reason I'm asking it,
That's
and
fine.
it's usually relative to what I know. So don't take offense to it. Again, it's just part of what we need to know.
Understood.
So you went to his house on 2 occasions.
Yes.
Was that recent?
No, that was like pretty early into it, and I did not like it and did not want to go back.
Do you recall where the house was?
Yeah, it's like right off the highway in Frederick.
Okay. And you know the streets?
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out again if I like really had to. Like off the top of my head, no.
Do you know the street name?
No. I would have to like drive around in there to get there.
Okay. Did it look like anybody else lived at that house at that
Oh,
time?
definitely.
Okay.
I mean, the
So is that
whole
what
thing.
freaked you out?
I mean, he told me that he was living in the basement, and he said, we're separated, but we're not divorced, and we're going to get ready to sell the house. And that was the impression that I was under. And I was under the impression that they were taking everything pretty slow with this, with like getting ready to sell the house. I mean, those are big things. So that's what I was informed. And I mean, if you think about it, this whole thing happened in a 6-week stretch. Like, that's not really that much of a time frame. So in that sense, like, it's believable to me. Yes, I went to the house, and the first time I was there, I hung out in there like front living room. I just sat on the floor, and it was on the 4th of July. It was the morning of the 4th, and I was helping him to set up MyFitnessPal app and like track his food, his calories and stuff, because he does pretty good with the working out and stuff. And he asked me, he's like, can you help me just like get this dialed in? I was like, yeah, I can do that. So that he invited me up to the house, and I was already kind of hesitant to do it because I was like, there are other people that live here, and I just felt like it was an invasion of space. And so I went up there, and we just stayed in that front room, and I helped him out with that, and got him all set up with that. And then he asked me if I wanted lunch, and he grilled chicken and carrots. And then that's all he had. And I was like, okay. So we ate, and then I left. And then there was another day about, I can give you the date-ish. Let me look at a calendar. I think it was the weekend after my birthday.
Just a thing on the courtesy for the phone for, what was that guy's name, Don?
This gentleman,
Oh.
Thornton PD. I just met him today. Do you want to do the phone?
I forgot about that.
For TPD.
It's not for them. They're doing it for us.
Yes.
We don't have the equipment with us to do it, and I asked them to do it for us. They're not involved in this investigation. He would just be a computer person. He would not be looking at any of this stuff. That would fall to myself. So keep that in mind. He's not involved in this investigation. Thornton PD has nothing to do with this, other than letting us use their facility and helping us with some electronic download. He's not going to look at your phone right now. He's going to put it on a disc, and they're going to give it to me.
Gotcha. I don't know. What do you think? I really want to help you guys. I do. I feel like this whole thing is just going to be crazy regardless of whether I give you my phone or not. I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. Like, it's happening. It's going to happen.
Well, the texts
Media's
reiterate
just
what
gonna-
you've been saying all along, so it's not like...
Well, they do. That's the other thing, too. I mean, that's kind of a good backup. Yeah, I'll give it to them.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. There's reasons why we want everything. It validates things that we know. I'm not going to come out and tell you that if you tell me something today, we'll validate it with your text messages, whether it's the ones we have now or the ones you're going to give us.
I'll give
Certainly.
it to him. If you want to go get him.
I want you to read this, is what I want you to do before you decide that, okay?
So the second time I went to that house, I'm not sure what day it was, but it was the weekend of the 14th.
Of August?
July. I don't know if it was the 14th or the 15th. One of those 2 days. But we had went out and we stopped there just real quick on the way back. And we were there not very long. But that time I saw a picture of his wife and one of his kids. And I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, she's so beautiful. And I like took a step back and I was just like, this man has a gorgeous house. He has beautiful babies. He has a beautiful wife. He has an awesome job. Like, why would he want to leave this? And I remember talking to him about it, and that was the first time that I tried to actually say, what do you think about not separating from your wife?
I requested and requested and requested it. It said right there in the documents, after Chris Watts confessed, after everything was over, right there in the documents, it said, okay, we videotaped this 3.5-hour interview with Nicole Kessinger, and her dad was there, but they only released the audio to us. And so when I kept requesting the video, because it was clear as day, they said it was videotaped, you kept running up against these brick walls. And I don't like it when people think we're stupid, when they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then you have to fight and fight and fight and write up an intent to sue. Then finally, 3 years later, they release it. And they thankfully released it to Shanann's brother, as they should. The evidence is out there, and now we got to see Nicole Kessinger and the way she was acting. Any evidence you have is worthwhile. Even if the case is closed, what if Jennifer Soto and Stephan Sterns said something really important to this officer whose missing body cam video we don't see when the other officer was out of the room. I know he walked out briefly and then both officers came back in, so we might only be missing, who knows, a minute or two of footage. And what if something very important was said by Jennifer that could cause her to be arrested or convicted? Or what if something else was said by Stephan Sterns in that moment in time that would click in a juror's mind? You never know what's going to click in the mind of one single juror that might make the difference. And that's why, to me, it's very important to have all the evidence we can have.
Yeah, dude.
And now with them saying, oh, no responsive records, when we're clearly looking at two different officers in that insurance company with Stephan, with Jennifer, with all their other family members and friends, we clearly see the different officers. We clearly see the one serial number on the body cam video footage we've had released, and we were clearly able to sleuth out the fact that we're missing something. And that's what makes people suspicious. That's what gives people doubt. Maybe it's of course not enough doubt to cause Sterns to ever walk, but you want Madeline to have her justice. You want him to be convicted to the fullest extent of the law. And you want all the evidence, especially that night. I mean, this is only hours after, Maddie was first reported missing, and they sent me the 3 911 calls again, and nothing's changed. It's still really redacted, and the grandma's still upset. No one's shown up, and the other person who called in is still talking in the same way. But that crucial time, that crucial moment of all that evidence of Jennifer Soto, how she acted in those critical first hours, right when the cops arrived, just where's that video? I mean, it's just so frustrating to me. And it shouldn't have to take threats of lawsuits to produce it. At this point, when I get this many rejections, I just feel like giving up. Who knows what God will say later. Will I have to write up another intent to sue and put it in a PDF and go from there? I don't know. I wish everyone would just maybe put some pressure on them to release everything they have from that night that's allowed to be released, that won't hinder the case. They're allowed to release this missing persons case information from that Monday night. Madeline was still missing until actually that Friday. It's only they really truly confirmed that unfortunately she was gone when they found her body, of course, that Friday. So in terms of the missing persons case, I guess that's why they could pretty much release this perp walk. They could release the Monday night info while Maddie was still a missing person. But if everything isn't being released, that does not foster goodwill with people who have listened to these 911 calls are already, criticizing the cops and saying, oh, I think the one guy was rude and I think they didn't act like they cared enough. And even on the body cam video, the one we got, you heard the guy say, why isn't this like a code 3? Why wasn't this sent out like an emergency? Even he was questioning what's going on here. I don't know. We'll see if I leave it at that or if I'll get the unction to fight like I fought for Nicole Cassinger's interview footage, like I fought for Gabby Petito's footage from Melissa Hull's body cam video all those years it took to release. I just wish with these cases, we want the complete evidence. We don't necessarily need, even though it's good to have everything, we don't necessarily need to see, the officer driving over to Maddie's grandma's house and looking around and not finding her there. Okay, fine. If that's a nothing burger, you don't necessarily need to see that. But if there's missing body cam video footage of a cop speaking with Stephan Sterns and Jennifer Soto and being the only cop in that room briefly speaking to that duo, people want to know what they were saying. Jurors are going to want to know. And if it's missing, it doesn't mean there's ineptitude or incompetence. It's just, I guess, it leaves a question in a person's mind. And if it's a question in my mind, I know it will be a question in the members of the jury's mind. Maybe they'll get an answer. Maybe they'll find the video for them by then. Hopefully it's not lost forever, but I don't know what's going on. Zechariah 2:5. For I, declares the Lord, will be a wall of fire around her, protecting her from enemies, and I will be the glory in her midst. thank God for the glory in our midst and for Madeline Soto getting her justice, and this death penalty case will be a serious one, as he deserves, from those horrible, horrible charges, the horror of what he did to that little girl. And we need the evidence from everyone. We need to know every word that came out of Jennifer Soto's mouth that night and what she was doing, and did she continue rocking when the other officer left the room. I just like to see complete evidence. The cops already showed up really late. They were questioning why it wasn't more of an emergency. Now they're saying, oh, we have no more records from that night, being really obtuse and just vague with it, instead of just saying, whatever, we deleted it, or he didn't turn his body cam on, or whatever the heck happened, you know. I don't know, it just gets frustrating. So we've got the 911 calls. They sent a couple of PDFs. Since I'm talking over this because I don't want YouTube to hear the music that the cops are playing as they transport Sterns, I already put both videos, just squeezed them into one. It's over on Patreon. You can watch it at the link below. The only other thing that they gave me, they just kind of gave me these PDFs that we've seen potentially before. You know, I think I'm going to throw these up on Patreon too, because I like Patreon. They allow you to put PDFs up there as well. You can put videos up there, you can put PDFs up there. Sometimes people are always like, where's the PDF where I can download it? And if it's not on Scribd, however you pronounce that, or another one, I just like putting it on Patreon. It's interesting, this incident report from February 26, 2024, it lists Stephan as a victim, Jennifer as a victim, and Maddie as a victim. So it's like, oh, they're all victims because they didn't know anything. And this is the incident report that we had seen posted a partial screenshot of from Channel 9. Although I will have to redact the phone number of Madeline's best friend, because it says Jennifer was able to provide me with the phone number of Madeline's best friend, and I won't name that person or their phone number, of course. But it talks about what we've read before. Deputy Diaz going to Los Palmos Drive, Maddie's grandma's house, due to the close proximity of the school and the grandmother's business that Madeline would frequently visit. And then Deputy Mooney was able to establish an attempt to contact Santa Maria Drive, the condo, it says, to see if Madeline made her way back to her mother's house. So there's some footage, obviously, too, of Deputy Mooney maybe going to the condo, knowing Maddie wasn't there. And it also says, explaining, I then requested Stephan take me to the location where he dropped Madeline off in an effort to canvass the area and recover any evidence. As I canvassed the area on foot, I was able to locate a camera in the Urbana apartment complex and active cameras at Peace Church property. It says Deputy Rodriguez was able to make contact with a worker from Peace Church who was able to allow this officer Joseph, I believe, yes, who was able to allow Deputy Joseph to view playback footage from that February 26th. And he explains, with his body worn, camera activated, he was able to see what appeared to be a juvenile enter the property from Town Loop Boulevard at approximately 8:40 a.m., sit down on the ground in the parking lot, and get up and leave the property towards Town Loop Boulevard at approximately 8:58 hours. So that was like 18 minutes, actually. That was like 18 minutes that person, whoever this person was, they caught on video that morning. It says, after reviewing the videos, I made contact with Jennifer and Stephan one last time for the night in an effort to get an article of clothing that has a large scent on it. The canine unit met me at the Santa Maria Drive condo to verify the clothing had not been contaminated. Once the clothing was verified, the canine unit and I went to the last known location Maddie was seen and began a track, and that track yielded negative results. So we have seen that with that crazy bloodhound video. And it says, it should be noted that Jennifer stated that Madeline is diagnosed with autism and ADHD and takes Adderall. And it's saying Madeline is 5'1", approximately 110 pounds, pounds with blue eyes, white skin, blonde hair. Madeline was last seen wearing a green hoodie, black shorts, and white Crocs. So that's it for Deputy Joseph. It says my body-worn camera was activated during my investigation. So obviously we have Deputy Joseph's body-worn camera, but whoever the other person was, we don't have it. They also sent me the arrest affidavit warrant, and it kind of goes over what we know about Sterns already, and now we get to see the footage of his arrest. It just says that Mr. Sterns was placed under arrest without incident. So he did look pretty calm. I mean, after all, apparently he'd been sleeping, you know, as we learned from the other court documents of when they were interviewing him, interrogating him and Jennifer, obviously. And I don't know why Jennifer got to walk free. Maybe of course, she's innocent until proven guilty. Maybe they had no evidence that she did anything wrong. And then with Sterns, obviously they found enough evidence to arrest him on the CSAM charges and later on the murder charges. And now they're seeking that death penalty. And that's a controversial thing. You know, some people, no matter what a person has done, they still have issues with the death penalty. But hopefully beyond this missing case, missing body cam footage after the night of the arrest, all the other footage that the Kissimmee Police Department has and all the other like interrogation footage, all that stuff, hopefully that will be enough for a jury to say, yeah, Sterns is a scumball. Ugh. And what will people say of Jennifer? I think, you know, if you maybe do the math, I should do a poll, but it's probably about 80% people think not necessarily that she had anything to do with Madeline's demise, but they find her sketchy with all this sleeping situation. And was she truly that naive? And did she really not know what's going on? But that's why this body cam footage of their first interview together is so important, because some people think she's kind of protecting him, or she's kind of like, these stories seem rehearsed. And that's why I try and fight so hard for the footage. I mean, I don't want to be the only one raising a fuss here, but I know I'm not. It just annoys me. I wish more people would just FOIA, put the pressure so they'll look and say, oh, wait a minute, here it is, and then release it like they did with Nicole Kessinger's interview video. Now that's gone everywhere, all over the world. Okay, let me stop. I'm just gonna go stop and breathe, eat my candy apple with chocolate on it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see what else we get. We'll see when Sterns, if he shows up in court, and we'll see where this death penalty case goes. We are praying and praying and praying for justice for Madeline Soto. Thanks for watching.